now available in paperback. From the author of the critically acclaimed book The Man Crisis comes The Woman Crisis. Learn why so many women have become lost in their quest to have it all in The Woman Crisis. Get your copy of The Woman Crisis in paperback at Amazon.com and online booksellers today. A Pennsylvania man allegedly decapitated his father after a heated argument over President Joe Biden.
Tonight, a horrific crime. A man is accused of murdering his own father, then sharing the gruesome details online. The details of this story are very disturbing. I'm Yuki Washington.
I'm Jessica Cartalia. It all started last night when a woman called police saying that she found her husband dead, beheaded in a bathroom with a machete and a large knife nearby.
After the murder, police say Justin Moan left his home in Levittown and drove his father's car about 100 miles away to a National Guard training center at Fort Indiantown Gap outside Hershey. That's where they say they found him with a gun. CBS Philadelphia's Eva Anderson spoke with neighbors who are absolutely stunned.
Going door to door today, we spoke with about a dozen neighbors who were upset and concerned over what police say happened in this very home. One particular woman was nearly in tears. She said her family lives in this home just next door, and she says they were up all night. Hanging over the homes on Upper Orchard Drive is a cloud of sorrow and disbelief.
I can't even believe that that could happen, but it happened.
Judy Dreisbach said it started with a commotion last night about 6 houses down when Denise Moan called police after finding her husband, Michael, dead in the bathtub. A relative of Judy's own son-in-law lives next door to the crime scene and stepped in to help.
He went over there and he found the guy in the tub decapitated. They were at the police station till 4:30, and they just texted my daughter.
Through her family, Judy learned more details, soon officially released in a criminal complaint. 32-year-old Justin Moan accused of killing and beheading his own father. And at the scene, a machete and a large kitchen knife.
I can't even believe it. That's what I said to my daughter. How much disrespect do you have for anybody in your family that you would kill him? I mean, you know, especially your father.
Even more disturbing, police say Justin Moan posted to YouTube this now deleted video, confessing to the crime in an anti-government rant.
Oh, I can't. Oh, you know, I really can't understand it. Yeah, I do get emotional. That's why I didn't even watch the video.
Sometime after apparently recording the video, Justin Moan drove about 100 miles outside of the crime scene. The state's Department of Military Affairs said a cell phone ping led authorities inside the Fort Indiantown National Guard base, where they say he had hopped the fence and had a gun on him. There, he was arrested, still leaving neighbors like Judy with questions.
Makes you wonder, how did it bubble up like that?
Justin Moan is now formally charged with first-degree murder, abuse of a corpse, and possession of instruments of crime. Reporting in Bucks County, Eva Anderson, CBS News, Philadelphia.
Bucks County National Alliance on Mental Illness is offering to help neighbors who are struggling with the news.
For the folks that are in that neighborhood, open invitation. Our door is open. We're here in Warrington. You're welcome to come and see us. I will come and see you if you need, if you want, just to talk about this.
You can reach the National Alliance on Mental Illness in Bucks County at 215-343-3055. We also have that number at cbsphiladelphia.com.
Now, in this alleged incident, 32-year-old Justin Moan allegedly murdered his father, Michael Moan, after having a heated argument over President Joe Biden. Now, after having this heated argument with his father, Michael Moan, who was a government worker, Justin Moan allegedly called his father a traitor and allegedly decapitated his father with a machete, and then took his body, put it in a bathtub covered in blood, then took his father's head, put it inside of a plastic bag, and then went into his bedroom to make a 14-minute YouTube video called Moan's Militia, a call to arms for American patriots, and held his father's head in that plastic bag, and then put his father's head inside of a cooking pot. And then after putting his father's head in a cooking pot, this is where he left his father's head and then took his father's car and drove off. Now, as he was driving off, his mother came home and found her husband's body dead inside of the bathtub, and found her husband in his head in the pot. And this is where she contacted police, who managed to be able to track down the vehicle that Justin Moan was in. And as they tracked down Justin Moan, who had already gone to a National Guard base and was hopping over the fence carrying a loaded firearm, he was captured and arrested. And after he was captured and arrested and charged with first-degree murder, he is now waiting to be arraigned. Now, the Middletown Township, Pennsylvania police are seeing this as an isolated incident, but when I take a critical examination of the alleged actions Justin Moan has participated in, they fit the pattern and profile for beta males that I talk about in my book, The Man Crisis. And it's clear to me that Justin Moan had a hard time functioning as a man ever since his days of college, because it was during his days of college he was starting to show that he could not function as a man and take responsibility for himself, because everywhere he went, he started buying into these conspiracy theories. And these conspiracy theories basically show me a male who was living in a rose-colored reality. And he was living in a rose-colored reality because he did not want to take responsibility or accountability for himself. Now, when it comes to beta males, they really do not function very well on their own. And when they are put in environments like college where they have to compete, many of these males start to malfunction and fall apart. And the reason why these males malfunction and fall apart is because many of these males do not have proper male life skills or male survival skills to navigate life in the world. And many of these males do not know how to function as a man or have the understanding that the world is completely different for a man than it is a woman. And it's clear to me that Justin Moan definitely was one of these males who really didn't understand how the world worked for men. And because he didn't understand how the world worked for men, he became intimidated by the world. And as he got intimidated in the world where he would actually have to compete, this is where Justin Moan looked to overcompensate by going to live in a rose-colored reality. And inside of that rose-colored reality, what he wanted to do was try to find a scapegoat for his feelings of inadequacy. And that scapegoat was going down the rabbit hole of these conspiracy theories. Now, as he went down the rabbit hole of these conspiracy theories, what Justin Moan, I believe, did was enter a place I call the secret world. And inside of that secret world, this is where he started to look to not only create the scapegoats of all of these different conspiracy theories to avoid taking responsibility for himself, but also started to go down this rabbit hole of conspiracy theories because these conspiracy theories made him feel adequate as a man, made him feel comfortable about his natural masculinity and his manhood and possibly his own sexuality. Because with a lot of beta males, they need these scapegoats in the secret world to feel like a man, because it means that they don't have to take accountability for themselves. And this was basically shown to me with Justin Moan, as related to him after he allegedly graduated college, because after he graduated college with a degree in business administration, he basically used this as a way to be able to cope with the reality of life. Now, Justin Moan possibly was one of these guys who thought, oh, I've got this college degree, I've got this money, I've got this degree, and I'm supposed to get a big time job, but he got an entry level job in customer service, which is what everybody with a college degree usually gets in the beginning because you don't really have any real work experience. And he felt entitled to a better job and wanted better money. And he felt like he could go out here and blame the government for his shortcomings for telling him to go get this degree. And that was the start of Justin Moan starting to have issues with real life because entry level jobs are just a place for you to get your experience, make a little money, all as related to building your life. But Justin Moan couldn't see himself building because he wasn't living in our real world. No, he thought he was supposed to be getting money right off the top, and he felt entitled to this. But the whole thing is that's not how the world works. And sadly, as he didn't know how to function in the world, he didn't really last long in this job that he got, I believe, in August of 2016. And then he wound up losing this job in October of 2017, showing me that he had real problems with authority in the workplace and authority figures, and he was having problems functioning in the real world. And as he was having problems functioning in the real world, this is where Justin Moan went and was not able to find another job. And as he was not able to find another job, what happened with Justin Moan is he started looking to go and try to blame different individuals, for, like the U.S. government, who he claims negligently caused him to take out student loans, and then also wanted to sue the university he came from as related to these cases, and wanted to blame them for him not being able to function as related to life. But the real reason why he wasn't able to function in life was because he didn't understand how the world worked for men. That yes, you take out student loans to go to college, and then you get an entry-level job, and entry-level jobs are customer service, sales, or even low-level management positions, and these jobs are gonna be paying maybe $20, maybe $30, $40,000 a year. And what you do is you're gonna have to pay off those loans, and as you're working your way up, you're working to build up your credit and your reputation. But he didn't understand how the world worked, and because he didn't understand how the world worked, he wanted to sue the college and sue the government for life not going the way he was told in Madison Avenue and Hollywood stories like Friends and Seinfeld and these other shows. And then he wanted to, later on in 2020, sue his former employer, Progressive Insurance, for wrongful termination and sex discrimination. And he wanted to do that because he had basically been down that rabbit hole of looking to talk about gynocentrism and talking about women discriminating against him. And while he was doing this, he was still living off his parents, ironically, the government worker, at getting $540 a month, and was also looking to pursue a music career and a writing career. Now, Justin Moan basically was a guy who wasn't living in reality. And as he wasn't living in reality, he was just out here just doing things and not understanding how the world worked for men. And as he didn't understand how the world worked for men, what he was doing after losing this job was going out and trying to write books and then go and make music. Even took a trip to Vegas to try to get his music career going, but he didn't understand that these were things you do as side hustles, but they're not actual businesses. And sadly, because he didn't understand how the world worked, nothing worked for him. And as nothing worked for him, he became more frustrated, simmering and boiling in anger, seething in anger, because he could not make life work. And because he was frustrated about not being able to make life work, he, I believe, spent a lot of time on social media. And sadly, as he spent time on social media, he was watching a lot of these videos where he was misinterpreting a lot of this information he was getting from many of these YouTube channels. And as he was misinterpreting this information and hearing what he wanted to hear, because beta males have very selective hearing and they do not process things objectively or logically. No, they process everything based on their feelings. What happened with Justin Moan is that that information on social media as related to men's content started to become an echo chamber, and as it became an echo chamber, he heard what he wanted to hear and then started falling further down the rabbit hole of far right political narratives. And as he started falling down the rabbit hole of far right political narratives, he was no longer listening to logic or reason. No, he was looking to get his feelings sated in the online echo chamber. And I go in depth on online echo chambers in my book, Stop Simping in Cyberspace. And as this 32-year-old man started to enter into the online echo chamber of the far right, buying into all of these conspiracy theories, he basically became someone who was living in his own world and could not deal with the realities of life being hard for men, and could not deal with the realities of the problems that real men deal with. And this is where he started to have problems, I believe, with his family, because in that echo chamber, he started to believe that he was the only one with all the answers and the only one with the solutions for all the answers. And this is where he started to possibly have some friction with his father, because his father was the only person who could possibly reason with him. But the whole thing is, he stopped listening to reason because he got caught up more and more in his feelings about the conspiracy theories that allowed him to feel secure about his natural masculinity and his manhood, and being challenged by a male authority figure like his father led to him going from simmering and boiling in anger about these far-right conspiracies that he felt powerless to do anything about, to exploding in rage, looking to take his power by destroying the life of the only person who was only looking out for him. And that's what beta males do, because they feel powerless about their lives and feel powerless to take control of their lives. And what they do in an effort to try to take control and is to try to destroy the first person around them who challenges their ideas. And that's basically what happened here, I believe, with Justin Moan. He felt like this is the only way he could deal with things. And again, this is the way beta males think. They don't really think with a lot of logic or reason. No, these men act on their feelings, and they act on their feelings impulsively, not really thinking about the consequences of their actions long term. No, all they're thinking about is sating their feelings, because what he did was, as he was looking to sate his feelings about trying to win this argument over Joe Biden, again, a person who knows nothing about Justin Moan or his situation or even cares about him, what he did was say, oh, my father works for the government, he's an enemy too, because in a lot of cases with these beta males, they are so in their own worlds that everybody becomes an enemy. They have all the answers, they are right, and they see, and this is the justification he had for murdering his father, who he said was a government employee. And again, this is the great irony here. Here's a guy who basically was being taken care of by a father who was a government employee, but he had conspiracies against the government, not seeing that it was that father who worked for the government who was giving him $540 a month, money that any other man could have used to start building himself up and then look to pay his father back. But instead of doing that, what happened with Justin Moan is he got caught up in his own world of these conspiracy theories. And this is one of the dangers I'm seeing with social media and beta males, because they are like putting fire on gasoline. And when you have a beta male, he doesn't know how to process information. No, with beta males, because they are emotional, what they do is take everything as the truth instead of seeing much of this conspiracy theories as a grain of salt. And this is what leads to these males going into the secret world, believing that everybody is an enemy, and then looking to do harm to people who are completely innocent. It's the same frame of thinking that basically triggers the mass shooters or many of the other more violent individuals, and that's the thing that many people don't want to deal with, because to deal with it has to deal with the way we raise children. Moreover, we have to deal with the way American families work in the business world, so they don't want to deal with it, and that's why we get incidents like this with individuals like Justin Moan, who basically is a textbook man in crisis and a textbook example of what happens when you have a guy with no ability to know how to function in the world, on the internet 24/7, listening to lots of conspiracy theories, and nobody there to tell him that he needs to take that misinformation with a grain of salt, because a lot of that misinformation is exaggerated. A lot of that misinformation is made to be on speculations, and you need to go out and find other sources to do more objective research. But these guys don't do that because they're caught up in their feelings about politics. They're caught up in their feelings about people who polarize them. And as they get polarized, what these individuals do is they start to get impulsive as related to feeling powerless about this world changing, and them not being able to know how to navigate change or how to set a course to work with this changing world. And because these men get frustrated and angry, they explode in rage, and they participate in horrific acts of violence like this. Now, Justin Moan basically wanted to destroy the only person who he felt had power, which was his father, the male authority figure in his life, but he won't be able to participate in violence against other authority figures that he's going to have to deal with law enforcement without consequences, because now that he's confessed to this crime on video, he is definitely on the road to becoming an inmate inside of the penitentiary, where he will be dealing with the CEO and the authority of the CEO, and dealing with the harsh realities of life in prison, as he's got to not only deal with the rules and the order of the CEO, but he's also going to have to deal with the social pecking order of Bubba, Tiny, Roscoe, Big Dave, Melvin, and Mr. Sprinkles. And it won't be a conspiracy theory, as he's traded for Little Debbie snack cakes, ramen noodles, packets of Crystal Light lemonade, packets of Crystal Light tea, ginger snaps, off-brand Oreo cookies, off-brand lemon cookies, off-brand duplex cookies, pound cakes, honey buns, Kit Kat candy bars, peppermint balls, ice pops. I mean, he's going to be turned out by all of those inmates. And then Mr. Sprinkles, after they do the Eiffel Tower and spit roast him in the front side and the back side, are going to spray special sauce all over both holes, leaving them completely glazed like a donut. And that's where Justin Moan is going to be moaning as he deals with the reality of life in the penitentiary. And as he deals with the realities of life in the penitentiary, he's going to realize he basically threw away one of the greatest intangibles of manhood, which was his freedom, all because he got caught up in his feelings about politics that he had no power to change outside of his vote. And this is where he's going to realize he basically took away one of the great people who could have given him some help, which was his father, and regret for everything that he's done. Now, some people want to say that Justin Moan was mentally ill, but I don't believe that he was mentally ill. What happened with this male is what's been happening to 2 to 3 generations of 100 million men here in America. We have not been able to raise boys to become men who know how to function in life. We are not raising boys to be able to know how the world works for men. And what's happening is that these men are going into this world with thinking the way the world works for women is the same way it works for men, because they are taught the way the world works for men and women are the same. And as these males go out into the world, people are expecting them to be men, and because they don't know how to be men, and how to have a strong resolve. What is happening to these males is that they're frustrated, they're short-circuiting, malfunctioning, and simmering and boiling in anger as they live in a rose-colored reality, enter a secret world, and then as they have to deal with real-world conflicts, they wind up exploding in rage, and as they explode in rage, they participate in this spectrum of violent behaviors, and they participate in this spectrum of violent behaviors where they participate in these heinous crimes. That's what's been happening, and it's been happening at a higher rate of frequency with more disturbing behavior as related to time going by, because I started making videos about this in about 2016 or 2017, and I wrote The Man Crisis in 2017 and published it in 2018, and almost 7-8 years later, we're starting to see, like I predicted in earlier videos, an increase in frequency of this violence. Moreover, we are also seeing a problem where these males are participating in more heinous crimes over time, because this whole situation is a disturbing one, that you have a son who murders his father and then puts a video of it up on YouTube. This is, again, a troubling incident, but America won't deal with the roots of this problem, which are the man crisis in this country. And this man crisis is due to the way we have been raising boys to become men. We are not raising boys to become healthy men in this country, and they are creating a crisis in this country of just heinous violence. And if we don't get this man crisis taken care of, we're going to see more of these incidents, because there will be a breakdown in law. And again, that's not a conspiracy theory, that is a fact. And sadly, we are not dealing with the facts of this man crisis, and we're not understanding that these guys out here like this, again, are not ticking time bombs anymore. They are landmines all across this country. And many people now who are smart, they're walking on eggshells, because you don't know when these guys are going to go off, or what they're going to do, or what they're capable of doing. And that's the scary part of this whole situation. It's really scary because you have these boys who don't know how to function as men, and they put the nation in crisis because we don't know what they're going to do until we hear about it on the news. Now, if you want to learn what leads to a male winding up on the road to becoming a man in crisis, you can pick up my book, The Man Crisis, on Amazon.com in paperback and Kindle format. You can also find The Man Crisis at other online booksellers like Smashwords, the iBookstore, Google Play, and Barnes & Noble. And if you want to see me make more videos about the man crisis, you can send a donation to the Patreon, the PayPal, or the Cash App by clicking the links in the description box. That's all I have to say for this video. You can comment, rate, and subscribe. Now available in paperback and Kindle Unlimited, The Man Crisis. Learn why so many men are struggling to find their way in an increasingly gynocentric world in The Man Crisis. Get your copy of The Man Crisis in paperback and Kindle Unlimited today. Support Black-owned and Black-operated digital broadcast media. www.niceradionetwork.com. Nice Radio Network, broadcasting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.